Welcome to the NCAA Softball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Saturday from Stillwater, there's an electricity in the air rolling up to Cowgirls Stadium. Oklahoma State fans ready to take this party on the road as the fifth-seeded Cowgirls one win away from punching their ticket to OKC. The Texas Longhorns have different intentions. They want to be the team to make it out of here to go to the Women's College World Series. Looking back at yesterday, after Texas jumped on the board first, the OSU Bats smacked the ball out of the park multiple times, adding to their single-season record, totaling 90 home runs. Allison Febri with two of her own, a 6-1 decision, and they're looking to wrap up the series here today as we take a look at the bracket. Best of three series. Texas would need a win today to force a decisive Game 3 tomorrow. UGA waiting in the wings for the winner of this one. And we are delighted to have you with us alongside the two-time national champion, Aaron Miller. I'm Tiffany Green. Two terrific offenses out of the Big 12. We see Oklahoma State playing at peak form, but how about this Big 12 matchup in Supers?
You know, this is the first time we've seen two Big 12 teams go head-to-head in Super Regionals since 2005. The conference going wild, and we can guarantee you a Big 12 bid into the Women's College World Series right here from Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Aaron, what does Texas need to do to notch a win to push this series?
Well, you saw a very good defense. That's something that they've been cleaning up, but it's the offense that went silence yesterday against a very hot OSU bat. So how will they face Maxwell in the circle? We shall see today here in just a few seconds.
Folks, we just want to alert you that you might want to buckle up and join us for this ride. Energy, excitement. We are ready to go from Stillwater, Texas, and Oklahoma State. Coming up next, let's go.
Let's do it.
The NCAA Softball Super Regionals is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Back here at Cowgirls Stadium on the campus of Oklahoma State University, the long ball has been the story this postseason for the Cowgirls, but Shea O'Leary, the sophomore, standing in the circle for the Longhorns, and she's been terrific this year.
Yeah, this has been an arm that has really carried this squad. Over the years, gotten to see her career unfold year after year, making changes to that repertoire, really working on that off speed.
Kenny Gajewski telling his team to keep their foot on the pedal in his 6th season as the head coach of Oklahoma State. As we take a look at the Cowgirls starting lineup, brought to you by Capital One. It's Allison Febri, who had 2 home runs yesterday, her second multi-hit home run game of the season, the last one coming back on March 9th. But Kylie Naomi will lead it off for OSU. She's been hot, as many of the bats for Oklahoma State during postseason play, was 6 of 11 in regionals and supers as well. Couple of home runs, and we'll see again 2 of the best offenses in the country, top 20 in terms of batting average and runs per game. Oklahoma State, the visitors on the scoreboard today, did this flip-flop. Naomi over to Jefferson at second base, veering to her left, and that's out number 1. As we take a look at the Longhorns defense, an excellent second baseman in Jefferson. You've got Corona, Sullivan, and Parker also joining her on the infield. Behind the plate is Mary Iacopo, and in the outfield from left to right, there's Burke, Rhodes, and Whitaker, who's getting the start in right field. We've seen her bat really heat up in postseason play.
There's that off-speed drop low in the zone for O'Leary. This is an arm that has thrown 148 innings. 114 strikeouts.
O'Leary, a two-time second team All Big 12 selection. And we think back to last year, she was off to a tremendous start before the COVID-19 pandemic canceled the season. And striking out a batter here.
Well, take a look at strike two. You can see this is on the inside part of the strike zone, right under the hands, and then immediately she goes to the curveball, working away from Cheyenne Factor. I love that sequence, Tiffany, shifting the eye set there, having to track that ball on opposite sides of the plate.
And the ever-dangerous Allison Febri now at the plate, but already O'Leary bringing some great stuff. Her first 6 pitches went for strikes. That was the first ball she's thrown, facing now her third batter, and that's high for ball 2. Febri, who started her career at the University of Georgia Bulldogs, as we mentioned, moving on to the Women's College World Series. Febri hoping to face off against her old team if they can pick up a win today on the ground. Over to first base, Colleen Sullivan takes it 3 up, 3 down.
Quick work, O'Leary set a tone. Texas with the bats next.
No better way to spend family time on a Saturday than coming out to the ballpark, taking in some postseason softball, 100% capacity. And I'll tell you, fans young and old, very excited about that there. Kelly Maxwell in the circle. The lefty is gonna be gunning it from the left side.
Just a crafty lefty. You're gonna see her make the ball dance both sides of the plate. Very good movement, deceptive off-speed changeup. Love her range in the circle.
The head coach for the Texas Longhorns, Mike White, 3rd season at the helm, and he told his team, just, hey, look, let's just simply do better, right? Do simple better. And Janae Jefferson, who leads off the Longhorns lineup, brought to you by Capital One, does that exceptionally well. The singles leader all-time for the Longhorns was 2 of 3 yesterday in the lineup, and we mentioned Jordan Whitaker getting the start, hitting in the 3 hole, so we'll get a chance to see her as well. Jefferson starting off the game, first pitch from Maxwell, and crushes it in to center field. The Cowgirls see Cheyenne Factor standing in center field, and how about Sydney Pennington at 3rd base? Made some excellent plays at that hot corner, done a phenomenal job. Really important piece, and Reagan Wright helping to steady this battery with both Maxwell and Carrie Eberly, who we saw yesterday.
Janae Jefferson finding a way to work herself on. Yesterday after the game, Tiffany went to the restroom before we headed back to the hotel, got to run into Jefferson as she washed up and ready to get on the bus. I said, hey kid, keep fighting. She goes, oh, we always fight. This game is not over.
They talk about the Texas fight that they have, never out of ball games, always staying in it. And their offense has been the fire starter all season long. I mean, we've seen just what they can do in producing runs, nearly 7 a game.
Hottest offense I think we've seen come through Austin in, gosh, a decade at least. Just the consistency, the power, and the leadership. I think of Coach White and what he's brought to this program. He's a legend in his own right, but he has paved quite a way during his coaching tenure here, from head coach at Oregon, now making his way over to Texas. And man, what an impact he has made.
And this one out at shortstop. Over the years, we've seen just it steadily improve, and you go to 2019 and you see it jump just above 300, and now at 346, 3rd best nationally. And you mentioned a great in his own right. Mike White was a standout fast pitch player as well.
I love
He's
to
one of the
see
top pitchers for U.S. national teams. First pitch swinging here from Jordan Whitaker. A couple of Cowgirls converging on it, and it's the left fielder, Alexander, with out number 2.
I loved to see his daughter, Nairi White, posted this photo. Nairi, if you're watching, I had to shout you out because these photos were amazing. Look at that. He is such a stud with the same aviators and the mustache. You just have to love that iconic look. 3 perfect games during his career. We got to see him throw a little BP. He still works that arm, Tiff.
Yeah.
Love it.
Originally out of New Zealand, became a U.S. citizen in 1994, won bronze with Team USA. Taylor Ellsworth was on the receiving end of that BP earlier today, the junior who helped to manufacture the only run for the Longhorns yesterday, now with no balls and a strike against Maxwell. Ellsworth, who is caught fire a little bit towards the end of season, coming into postseason play, wanting to take advantage of that Janae Jefferson leadoff single. She's standing at first with 2 outs. And this one goes out of play.
You know, when I see Ellsworth, I think of just the resilience. I've had the pleasure of calling a lot of LHN games, getting to know these Texas players, and battling through injuries, battling through adversity. Taylor Ellsworth has been so persistent with chasing what she wants. And at this portion in her career, this portion in the season, I know this moment means so much to her.
And all the more important, you listen to coaches talk about what it takes at this point in the season, and you hear this common element of willing to do whatever it takes, the willingness of players. And so she had never played outfield before. He was saying, hey, I need someone in the outfield, give it a try. And she's done it throughout the season, hitting as the designated player here today, but that's what you love to hear.
Yeah, you want that willingness from your team, and that's the beauty of our sport, is that you have to have all the puzzle pieces. You have to have the team effort. Be able to sacrifice your own wants and needs to do what's best for this team. And I think Texas has done an outstanding job all year of doing that, piecing things together on defense.
The grounder just past the outreach arm of Pennington, but deep in the hole, there's Kylie Naomi with the rocket over to first base. One left aboard, nothing pushed across.
Legendary T. Boone Pickens Stadium right here in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and we've got a heck of a game between Oklahoma State and Texas. OSU, although they've been mashing at the plate, they've also been flashing the leather on the field. Deep into the 5-6 hole, Naomi coming up with the off-foot throw for the killer 3rd out.
Well, our coach, Kenny Gajewski, said, look, she is the Bo Jackson, right? She can do a little bit of everything. Fast, strong, unafraid, and we saw just how strong she was, zipping it over to first base. Meanwhile, first pitch swinging from Haley Busby deep into the left center field. Oh my, that was ever so close, and Shayna Rhodes knows it too. Good job out of the center fielder.
Off the bat, this sounded very similar to the moonshot we saw off the bat from her yesterday. But well tracked there by Rhodes. Beautiful off speed by O'Leary. That to me, Tiffany, is going to be the pitch that will probably be the most dominant against OSU. We didn't see a lot of off speed thrown yesterday to the Cowgirls. Saw White in the circle. We saw Jacobson in the circle. This time O'Leary gets the start, the veteran, the leader.
This one popped up into left field. Lauren Burke underneath it, and 2 away. Well, O'Leary looks efficient. She looks dialed in. And you said it early, tone setter. Tone setter. In that first inning, 7 of her 9 pitches went for strikes. You mentioned just how versatile these bats are for Oklahoma State. About Carly Petty getting in on the fun yesterday as well. Hit her 8th home run of the season. The sophomore with lots of potential puts it right back to O'Leary. She's able to pick it up, but can't get to Petty in time. The throw to first base just slightly behind as O'Leary bobbled it. And where did that ball actually hit, Aaron?
Yeah, you can maybe tell here on this replay that was well struck right back at O'Leary, and it looks like it did hit the hand.
Tried to make a play at first base, but could not get Petty, so she's aboard with 2 outs. And Reagan Wright, the senior, standing in, the super senior.
I also think this is worth reminding our viewers at home. This is the 7th time these teams have faced each other.
Well, the 6, you think, Aaron, the 4 during both the regular season and Big 12 tournament. Yesterday they met again, and it was Oklahoma State who got the best of Texas with a 6-1 victory. Cowgirls have won 10 of their last 11 against Texas. Again, 5 straight so far this season.
I loved Coach White's response when we got the chance to talk to him earlier this week. He said, I wouldn't want to face us again. You know, even though they have not taken one from OSU this year, man, what a position for Texas to come in and say, we got nothing to lose here. What are the odds? What are the odds? We face each other on the road to the Women's College World Series. 2 Big 12 teams going head to head. And we have seen the mayhem across the board.
Oh, yeah. When you think about Florida State going on the road in Baton Rouge, that was a crazy game last night for the Seminoles to go back to the Women's College World Series for the first time since 2018 when they won their first national championship. Reagan Wright is aboard with a 2-out walk. And, you know, I go back to what you just said about Mike White and just the familiarity with these 2 teams. He said, look, we know each other. We've seen each other. There are no secrets here. It's just now a matter of executing.
And I don't think it's hard to figure out what was missing for Texas yesterday. It was the timely hit. It was the spark offensively. It's something that they've been good at all year long. The area that they have struggled has been defense, and that has been lights out this postseason. Only 2 errors committed in 4 games during regionals out in Austin. Very clean defense to make it here to Stillwater.
Texas beating St. Francis, Texas State, and Oregon to advance here to the Supers. And striking out Hobson is O'Leary. A couple of left on base, but she's dealing, ladies and gentlemen.
Shea O'Leary is in charge, and she will hand it over to her offense. What can Texas do? Let's see.
You're watching the NCAA Softball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. A sunny Saturday afternoon in Stillwater, 70 degrees. A little breeze out here, about 10 miles per hour. And the fans filling out in Cowgirls Stadium. Oklahoma State a win away from moving on to the Women's College World Series. Texas, the 12th seed, trying to push to a decisive Game 3 tomorrow. Bottom second, Rhodes, Iacopo, and Parker due up for the Longhorns. Rhodes 6 of 16 so far in the Supers and regional rounds. Senior out of Fort Worth, Texas. One of the 4 transfers who moved over from the University of Oregon.
Well, how about that lineup change for Texas? You've got the 2 bombers now back-to-back. Rhodes with 15 home runs on the season. Iacopo on deck, also 15 home runs on the season. Whitaker, the freshman, getting the start in the 3-hole today. First time we've seen her at that part of the order, only her 25th start of the season.
And the ball to Shannon Rhodes. Rhodes.
The fearlessness of Coach White, knowing what his team needs to do, how to piece it together. What should this 1 through 9 look like? Because keep in mind, Texas has to win today. They have to win to continue this season. This is a must win for the Longhorns. So to make these lineup changes should be sending a huge message to the athletes in this starting 9. If I'm freshman Jordan Whitaker and I'm looking at my starting lineup and my name is in the 3-hole, I'm not sure there's a bigger compliment than that on this stage.
But it also speaks to being ready, right? When you're coming off the bench, when you're stepping up in pitch hitting situations, if you can prove that you can produce, then you earn those spots. She's 3 for 3 so far in this NCAA tournament in that pinch hitting role. So now she gets the start. Shannon Rhodes sits down, first strikeout for Maxwell.
This is a huge strikeout for Maxwell, the lefty coming in with that backdoor curve. Just barely clipping that strike zone in the backside of the plate. Telling you, crafty work in the circle from Maxwell. So different than Eberly, who we saw get the start yesterday. Big 12 pitcher of the year, Carrie Eberly, Game 1 win.
Well, too, I think Maxwell has benefited from Eberly being here. Eberly came in as a transfer from Virginia Tech, and so she's been able to sit back and watch Mary Iacopo, the junior out of Carson, California, went 0 for 2 yesterday, reached aboard safely with a walk. This Longhorns team did get 5 hits yesterday. They were peppered throughout the lineup and over the course of the game. This one on the ground. Naomi again. Strong throw, 2 away.
Athletic protection for shortstop number 9, Mackenzie Parker.
Mike White wants to see the same tone set from Shea O'Leary in the circle. Transfer over to the plate. The 7-hole hitter, Mackenzie Parker, standing in with 2 outs. Welcome into Stillwater, Oklahoma. It's the Texas Longhorns making their 6th Super Regional appearance. They must win today in order to push a Game 3. Meanwhile, Oklahoma State just one win away from moving on to OKC. Aaron Miller, Tiffany Green here with you. Kelly Maxwell in the circle. Recorded her first strikeout against Shannon Rhodes. She's trying to get out of this inning.
We've already seen efficient work from both sides of this field. Maxwell settling in. Shea O'Leary has been dominant through 2 innings.
One of the best offenses in the country was held to just 5 hits and 1 run yesterday. We're talking about the Texas Longhorns dropped a 6-1 decision to Oklahoma State, the number 5 seed nationally. They're playing host here, but today they flip on the scoreboard, and Texas is the home team. Already 3 tickets punched to Oklahoma City. OSU wants to be added to that list. Texas has that same feeling, but if they are able to win, it would be a Game 3 tomorrow. Parker pops it up behind home plate and out of play. Well, Mike White knows that it is difficult to face a team that you have seen several times in a season. The 6th meeting between these two, Oklahoma State has gotten the best of them the last 5 times. Good at bat here from Parker.
Well, at this point in the season, Tiffany, no matter what has happened between these two programs in regular season, in conference play, conference championship play, throw it out the window, because it comes down to this moment. 1 game.
Parker over to first base. Fevery touches, and we will step aside here from Stillwater. Still knotted at 0. Glancing over the campus in Stillwater, you are watching the NCAA Softball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Leading up to Cowgirls Stadium, we're all knotted at 0 here as the fans ready to see Oklahoma State potentially punch their ticket to the Women's College World Series alongside the 2-time national champion Aaron Miller. I'm Tiffany Green. We talked about these two teams being very familiar with one another coming out of the Big 12, but first time meeting in Super Regionals.
Yeah, since 2005, this is the first time we've seen 2 Big 12 teams here at Supers fighting to punch their ticket to the Women's College World Series. So if you're watching from home, we can guarantee you a Big 12 team will come out of this regional.
I'll tell you this, Texas has a lot of fight in them. Can they bring it here today to force another game tomorrow? Chelsea Alexander hitting in the 9-hole for the Cowgirls, and the long ball has been a story in Supers. We saw that with Oklahoma all season long. They're ahead 6-1 over Washington on ABC.
How about that?
Georgia, how about that special?
ABC, let's go.
Oh, don't worry, we're going to touch on that multiple times today. And then Georgia also rocking it out of the ballpark to advance, taking down the Florida Gators, sweeping them in Gainesville. Ayakopo gets the sign. Shea O'Leary, who has been great so far. And really, they need a strong pitching performance out of the circle from their ace, O'Leary. Leads the team with 15 wins on the season. Over to first base, and Sullivan retired Alexander.
By Oklahoma State, the shortstop number 5, Kylie Naomi.
Well, the defense has been a conversation point for the Longhorns all season long. They will be put to work and in play as O'Leary likes to keep the ball down. Off speed has been a go-to pitch. And Naomi cranks that one into left field. Doesn't stay. It's over the fence. Home run. Kylie Naomi, her coach calls her the Bo Jackson. 14th home run of the season. And now the 17th game in a row that OSU has hit a bomb out of the park.
Kylie Naomi, one of the 4 hitters in this lineup with double-digit home runs. And she's in the leadoff spot. She is the tone setter for this OSU offense, and you see why. Such spark at the plate. This OSU offense has been locked in, especially on that long ball. And man, does this crowd react. Electric in this stadium.
That super regional round is like just a pickup from what we saw in regionals. Outscoring opponents 29-5 and moving through Campbell and Mississippi State in the process. Well, we talked about the big bats. 3rd home run of the tournament for Kylie Naomi, but 91 in total, a program record in a single season at Oklahoma State. You said it, multiple players with 10 or more home runs. How about 12 or more? Okay.
Unbelievable. We have talked about the record-setting offense of Texas this year. OSU in that same boat, just outstanding power, record home runs. A testament to both of these head coaches, the growth year over year, season over season.
Well, we go back to yesterday, and you have to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the park, and Allison Febri started it all.
We got a chance to chat with her after the game, and we asked her about those eyes. We got to see that locked-in look. Look at that look right there at home plate. She said, you know, I just try and take a deep breath, find my zone, stick to what I know. Well, whatever she's knowing, I hope she doesn't forget it, because she is on a tear at the plate. 16 home runs.
She's absolutely focused, man. And she said, look, this is postseason, okay? So we're feeding off the energy of each other and the fans. A player who is admired and respected by her teammates. And got into softball late. You know, she was into equestrian. And then around the age of 12, she made the switch to softball after having an accident falling off her horse. It was stepped on. Her arm was stepped on, and parents said, okay, you know what? We'll sign you up for softball the next day.
I like that decision.
I think Kitty Gajewski likes it too. A 3-1 count to Febri, and Febri flies out to left, and that does it. But not before Kylie Naomi rocking it out of the park, giving OSU a 1-0 lead, dialing it up in the 405. NBA playoffs continue for tonight on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the app. Joel Embiid and the Sixers take on the Wizards at 7 Eastern. Then Ja Morant and the Grizzlies host Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz. The Countdown Crew starts our coverage at 6 Eastern right here on ESPN. Following our game, a couple of game threes. Oklahoma State with a 1-0 advantage. Texas hoping to get to a game 3 here. If they can come back from a 1-run deficit. 100% capacity here in Stillwater, and the fans have shown up yet again. Colleen Sullivan leading it off for Texas, and you just love to see it. Postseason softball, everyone was just so hungry for it. And now that it's back, OSU fans showing their support like many across the country. Kelly Maxwell in the circle gave up that leadoff single to Janae Jefferson, and 6th inning, she's retired 6 straight batters. The 1-1 count to Sullivan, who has a championship already underneath her belt, having played 49 games during that 2019 championship season for the UCLA Bruins. The defending national champions in action tonight in a big game 3 out in Westwood against Virginia Tech.
What a wild sight that has been. We saw an outrageous performance from Keely Rochard for a sound win against the number 2 seed UCLA. And then another gut-wrenching performance in the circle from UCLA last night, a tag team duo trying to get it done, and a back against the wall win. Ferramo just untouchable.
Yeah, Maya Brady and Aaliyah Jordan with solo shots to give them the 2-0 advantage. Mike White looking on. 2-2 count to Sullivan. That one close, ball 3. Here's Maxwell. Gets Colleen Sullivan swinging, taking a look at the other side of the bracket. We've seen a couple of teams punch their tickets. Alabama and Florida State, they are both in. All things will get started in OKC next Thursday as Bama taking down Kentucky. And again, we talked about the wild one at LSU, Florida State. We were watching that last night after our game, and we just were on the edge of our seats the entire time, especially in the late innings and how they were trading runs back and forth.
I'm sure we disturbed some people around us as we're yelling for the tying home run off the bat of the freshman at Florida State. What a clutch at bat. Elizabeth Mason with a clutch at bat. Florida State just has that postseason magic.
11th Women's College World Series appearance for the Noles. Texas 2 wins away from moving on to OKC and seeking their 6th Women's College World Series berth. The third baseman, Corona, taking all the way, tossed the bat, thought that may have been a ball instead. Jefferson handing it right back to the freshman.
This was without a doubt a strike. Catches the inside part of the strike zone. Just an awkward moment as a hitter.
Well, this is a player who was primarily used as a pinch runner, and that one looked like she caught from time, stepped out of the batter's box. Ball 4, she's awarded first base, but that was an interesting sequence.
Yeah, I've been in this situation before. You try and call time, trying to get settled. You can see she's just not ready with the bat. Question is, should that pitch have been called? If time is not awarded to the batter, it should have been.
Jefferson, who has been the consistent force at the plate for Texas in both the regional and super regional rounds. And she said, you know, you have to have a goldfish mentality and basically just have a short memory of what happened yesterday. Have you ever heard it?
I've never heard
dubbed
that
as
before.
goldfish mentality?
I like it though. This is a sport of failure. It really is, having to battle through failure. Although Janae Jefferson not failing all that much. She is that good.
Two-time All-American, second baseman, first in batting average, and hits for her career over to first base, getting the lead runner as Febri quickly tracked down Corona at second.
Right off the end of the bat, decides to get that lead runner. Such a heads-up call there by Febri at first base. It's those little details. Getting the lead out when you can, making the routine plays. That's what makes the outstanding plays just the cherry on top.
It's Petty charging in. Runner left on base. Longhorns can't push anything across. We'll talk to Texas head coach Mike White when we come back. Back here in Stillwater, we're joined now by Texas head coach Mike White. And we mentioned earlier in the broadcast you were a standout pitcher in fast pitch softball. Watching Shea O'Leary bring her stuff today, what have you liked?
Well, I like the fact that when she's keeping it down and the changeup's working, we're doing okay. But unfortunately, you know, when we're giving up the pitch over the middle, they're hitting a home run off it. So I think they have more home runs than hits right now.
Coach, we've seen a lot of power recently from Whitaker. You talked even earlier in the season just about the power she has at the plate. Walk us through the decision to stick her in the 3-hole today.
Well, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you get the same result. So it's a little bit to shake it up and just, you know, we're looking forward to the future as well. So see what she can do in this situation. Just missed the first pitch, so hopefully she can have another good at bat.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck.
You're welcome. Welcome.
I'll tell you, Mike White said, look, at this time of the season, it doesn't matter what happened earlier in the year. This time of year rewards the players and teams who give and play their best. And he said, we've proven that we can play with the best. A couple of top 25 teams in the last poll. Second and third, these two teams finish in the Big 12. It's been OSU who has controlled the series as of late. Winners of 13 of their last 15 against Texas, although the Longhorns controlled the series historically. Corona to Sullivan and out number one, retiring Haley Busby. That's been an area of concern at third base and all across the defense, but Corona has gotten the last 14 starts at third base. It's like the fourth third baseman they've gone through.
You know, a few of the positions out here on defense for Texas have kind of been a revolving door of who's going to grab that starting spot. Figuring out what the corner outfielders are going to look like. The corners on the infield. We've seen different first basemen, different third basemen. Practically the middle infield has been the only consistent starts, as well as Iacopo in the catcher position.
Corona busy, and again making a couple of routine plays. The freshman out of Dripping Springs, Texas, wearing the number 28. That's the distance that Austin, Texas is from her hometown. Petty, who singled her first time up, takes a look at ball one.
I got a chance to call the Big 12 championship, got to see both of these teams battle it out for a conference title, and Carly Petty, one of the toughest athletes I saw all weekend long, took a ball right off the nose and the eyebrow at second base, had to have 10 stitches
Ouch.
above the eyebrow, and didn't leave the game, Tiffany. Needed a butterfly bandage, changed the bloody jersey, and finished the inning. Tough, tough cookie.
Started all but one game in her career, and that's that cowgirl mentality that she brings to the ballpark every time she touches the field. Native Oklahoman out of Moore. And Petty, who too had to be moved around defensively for Kenny Gajewski, trying to figure out the best places and spaces for his players as well. In the 6th hole, and she strikes out. We'll talk to Kenny Gajewski on the other side of the break for Oklahoma State. This at bat from Kylie Naomi. The difference in the ball game, a 1-0 lead for Oklahoma State, as the power continuing to show for OSU, joined by their head coach Kenny Gajewski. And you said earlier in the year they were just tired of being average, that could really change things around. What's gotten behind this power for OSU?
Just good intent. I mean, they've just really committed to really improving, and we've done that. We've hit a couple balls good here today. One got caught up in that wind, and one barely got over, but these pitchers are both throwing 2 great games.
Well, Maxwell gets the start today. Such a crafty lefty. What makes her so deceptive in the circle?
She just, you know, I don't know. You know, when I sit back there and watch, the ball just has that late life, and it's hard enough. The off speed just continues to get better, and she just acts like there's nothing going on here. I think her heartbeat just never changes.
Love it, Coach. Appreciate it. Good
Thanks,
luck.
guys. Thank you.
And leading it off is Jordan Whitaker, another freshman on the field for these Texas Longhorns. She flied out her last time up, but we talked to Coach White in the top half of this inning and saying, look, got to change it up, got to do something different.
Sometimes that's what it takes, a new look.
Fouls that one back from Maxwell. This is really like her 3rd freshman year, if you will, red-shirted in 2019. Of course, COVID canceled last season, and then she's back at it again. 3+ innings, only allowed 1 hit, and still a bagel on the board for Texas in the run column.
We're looking at her numbers, 132 strikeouts, averaging over 1 strikeout an inning. And that really goes to show Coach Kenny Gajewski's comment, late life in her ball, and that could not be more true.
She's ahead in the count to Whitaker, and gets Whitaker chasing.
Late life it is. Look at the way this ball travels. Up in the zone, starts right under the letters and ends in the eyes of Jordan Whitaker.
3rd strikeout for the first team All Big 12 selection out of Friendswood, Texas. Now Ellsworth. Grounded out to short. Back in the 1st. A chance to move on to Oklahoma City for OSU if they're able to hold on to this 1-0 lead. Texas trying to extend their season. They need to win today in order to give themselves a chance for tomorrow. Most important game of the season for the Longhorns. Maxwell readies. And fans another as we send it over to the studio and check in with Chris Button.
Next up, the Longhorns will sit in building number 13, Shannon Rose.
Well, thanks so much, Chris. Boy, I tell you, Norman, Oklahoma has been the spot for one of the most impressive seasons when it comes to standing in at the plate. Home run after home run, it's just expected.
Almost hard to believe the numbers.
And when you see them put in print like this, 144, you know they're going to keep adding to that total if history is any indication. Each game they keep putting more and more on. But how about Oklahoma State as well? 4 teams that we're seeing in super regional play with 90+ home runs. Wow. The grounder over to third base. 3 up and 3 down. Maxwell handling business in the circle. Second game of this Supers.
This is the party that every player wants to be at.
It's going to be passionate softball for sure.
Back to crown a national champion for the first time since 2019.
They get to chase history here.
Just about an hour from here in Stillwater. The Cowgirls trying to make it back there for the second consecutive full season. All gets underway Thursday, June 3rd at noon Eastern over on ESPN. 100% capacity, folks, in OKC at Hall of Fame Stadium. Alabama and Florida State among the teams that have already punched their tickets. Georgia also was able to do so earlier today. And Oklahoma closing in on an opportunity as well. They've got the big lead over Washington. Reagan Wright was not a part of that 2019 team that made it to OKC as she spent 4 years at the University of Texas, Arlington, and setting up behind the dish for Kenny Gajewski. She knew she could have an opportunity to move on to the big dance with this program.
I call the Hall of Fame field the Holy Land because we are all trying to make it to the Holy Land in Oklahoma City. Exit 132A off I-35.
Well, I'll tell you, the move to Oklahoma City is a pitch-by-pitch kind of journey in Kenny Gajewski's mind. This team watched the movie, The Dawn Wall, scaling one of the best climbers of all time, scaling a mountain, and you have to do it pitch by pitch. The movie Free Solo. And so while it has nothing to do with softball, he said it has everything to do with, hitting those levels, achieving those markers, and you have to do it pitch by pitch like you do on the mountain. You're scaling it. And so you look at this program, when he took over 2016, it was, hey, let's get to a regional. All right, let's pull out a win in the regional round. They did so on the road against his former team, the Florida Gators. And then they move on that 2019 season, magical year. set all kinds of records, made it back to OKC for the first time in 8 years. And now they're hosting Super Regionals and trying to seek their 9th appearance in the Women's College World Series. Taking off, going to second base, and that's Reagan Wright for the stolen base, just her 2nd of the season.
So well done. You can see Iacopo trying to stick that pitch for O'Leary. So a delay throw down to second base and a very good jump by Wright at first.
It's not every day you see your catcher taking off for a stolen base, especially against the very strong arm of Mary Iacopo, and I think that's what maybe caught everybody off guard as well. And now Wright's in scoring position.
Yeah, Iacopo, one of the best arms we've got across the landscape of college softball. And I guarantee you, had she not held that pitch a split second, would have been a closer play at second base.
And the ground ball over to the shortstop, Parker, and she retires Hobson. So Wright staying at second base and doing a good job of looking the runner back.
Hello, Texas defense, making plays. Parker coming over across the field in the 5-6 hole. She looks back right at second base, grabs that out at first.
Here's Chelsea Alexander, 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position, shows bunt and commits strike 1. But touching back just on the players having a retreat just after the Big 12 tournament, preparing themselves for the NCAA postseason. It's 2 away. They feel like they're in a position to create a new standard here. They bought into the culture of Kenny Gajewski, and one of the ways that they've been able to be successful under his leadership, especially this season, is by way of the home run.
You know, every season looks different of what the strength is for each team. And this year, when you look across the board, I just feel like we have seen this emergence of the offense. For so many years of college softball, it's been that dominant arm in the circle. We've seen more staff efforts now from pitchers. And now this new wave of just crazy, outrageous, sometimes hard to believe offensive numbers.
Wow. Janae Jefferson from her second base position, tracking that one all the way into foul territory. We move to the bottom half of the inning. Welcome back to the NCAA Softball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. I couldn't ask for a better day. I don't know about you, Aaron Miller. It is absolutely gorgeous here in Stillwater, and I'll tell you, fans in the stands soaking up the sun, because we got friends in what?
Low places, baby.
Shout out to the Oklahoman, Garth Brooks, blasting over the speakers here. Oklahoma State getting closer and closer to moving on to the Women's College World Series. They have a 1-0 lead over their Big 12 foe, Texas. Maxwell spent 9 pitches last inning, all for strikes. Shutout softball right now for the Southpaw. Iacopo grounded out to shortstop. Back in the second. Second time around seeing Maxwell. Swing and a miss there. 0-2.
You see how well Maxwell is just commanding this zone, in control. And to think that Eberly, her fellow pitcher on this staff, was the Big 12 Player of the Year. That's how good Big 12 pitcher, excuse me, of the year. That's how good this OSU staff is.
When you think about some of the arms that have traditionally come through these programs, I think the two that stand out for OSU, the two-time Olympian Michelle Smith, our colleague, and then Kat Osterman on the other side for Texas. And now these players have a chance to try to follow in those big shoes and leave their own footprints on their programs.
Here's Michelle Smith. She's actually calling the game right now on ABC.
Hanging out in Oklahoma, a very familiar place to her, although I know she might be checking in on this score to see how things are going with her Cowgirls. Naomi has played that shortstop position beautifully, making the routine plays look good and the tougher ones even better.
You know, I think we got to pay off this moment today. Just within the world of women's college softball, the first ever televised game on a major network, ABC, broadcasting Oklahoma and Washington. I don't know if there's been a bigger moment in our sport, honestly.
Single up the middle by Parker, just the second given up today by Maxwell, and we'll see if that gets the Longhorns moving. So now with a runner at first, Colleen Sullivan up, Mike White wants to see some life from these bats. We mentioned one of the best hitting teams in the country who have been held at bay this weekend. And yes, Aaron, huge deal to think about ABC because, you know, it wasn't that long ago that we weren't even seeing women's college softball televised. And so for it to continue to make this huge leap, steady growth, is pretty awesome to see.
But we got to give props where props are due. Our coordinating producer, Meg Aronowitz, has been a tireless pioneer for the sport of softball. And she sent us a quote, and I'm going to read it because I think it rings truer now than ever. When you believe in a thing, believe in it all the way. Unquestionably, she has believed in the sport of softball. So many women have paved the way for the growth of this sport, and from the bottom of my heart, I just want to send a massive thank you to everyone tuning in that is fanning the flames of the hot scene of college softball right now.
Well said, partner, and thank you to our champion, Meg Aronowitz, as well. 2-2 count to Sullivan, takes that ball high, now draws full. And we talk about it here, but guess what? The party don't stop. It continues next week in Oklahoma City.
I never want it to stop, Tiff. Let's play softball all year long.
Sullivan reaching out, good AB and back-to-back singles for the Longhorns. Carrie Eberly warming up in the bullpen for OSU as Texas seemingly figuring something out against Maxwell.
Hello, Longhorns, starting to string some momentum together at the plate as Maxwell and Wright will join for a chat in the circle.
And the pinch runner coming in as MK Tedder, who got the start yesterday, in as a pinch runner at first base. And she is the go-ahead run with Courtney Day, who's been clutch so far 2 for 2 as a pinch hitter. Came up with base hits against Texas State and Oregon in the regional round, and the freshman out of Pearland, Texas, seeing her Longhorns with their first runner in scoring position today.
Oklahoma 1 out away from a run rule victory against Washington. Never thought I would see that.
I would say that's surprising for sure. Meanwhile here, Texas showing some fight, trying to battle back from a 1-0 deficit. Just 1 out here, 2 aboard. As Maxwell stays in, can she get out of a jam? Day lays off, ball 1. And strikes out Day. Big K for Maxwell, her 5th of this game.
Getting better and better as the innings unfold. Maxwell going up in the zone against Courtney Day. That's her 5th strikeout through 5 innings. Crafty, that is the word that comes to mind when you see the movement, the late break on Maxwell's ball.
A biochemistry and molecular biology major is Kelly Maxwell. And right now trying to doctor up something against Jefferson. An ever dangerous hitter. She's got 2 aboard, 2 out. To the young woman wearing number 2 for the Longhorns.
In my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the Big 12 and the nation for that matter. Janae Jefferson has just been excellent throughout her career, so consistent, triple threat. Love her demeanor. She's a baller.
And worth noting that she's added power to her play this season. Her first career home runs have come this year, 5 in total for Jefferson. She extended her hitting streak to 13 earlier today with a single back in the first. And worth noting that Oklahoma ready to punch their ticket to OKC against Washington. Jefferson putting it on the ground just past Petty, and the first run of the game for Texas. We're tied at 1.
Janae Jefferson. That is exactly who you want at the plate. A 2-out clutch execution and the emotion to follow. I knew there was still fight. Got a chance to talk to Jefferson yesterday. We ran into each other at the end of the game and she said, it ain't over. It ain't over till it's over. There's still fight left.
Comes in with just a pro mindset, says her head coach, Mike White. Always finds a way to get it done. And these Longhorns got something to say. 450 miles from Austin, Texas. And they're trying to bring every bit of fight here on the road. Just the second time they're on the road in Super Regionals. Popped up to Naomi. She gets it. But Janae Jefferson tying this game up.
Well, I have joked since her freshman year. I am the president of the Janae Jefferson fan club, and this is why.
Game 2 of Super Regionals from Stillwater. 1-1 as Texas evening it up in the last inning. And let's bring you up to speed on what's been happening in the Big 12. 5 of the 7 softball teams made the NCAA tournament. Oklahoma, the latest to punch their ticket to the Women's College World Series. And Aaron, we were just shocked to know that this was the first matchup between 2 Big 12 teams in Supers.
Yeah, what a day. This entire year, I feel like, has been huge for college softball. Not having these moments in 2020, they were dearly missed. It's been over 730 days since postseason play, and here we are. It's been crazier than ever.
So excited to be here, and that one is ruled a foul ball, although gloved by Corona. So Cheyenne Factor will come back to the plate with an 0-2 count, and that woman right there, Allison Febri, is on deck. We remember what she did yesterday, and don't worry, we'll catch you up to remind you when she steps in. Caught on the outside part of the plate, and Factor looking, and let's go back to yesterday. Febri with a couple of home runs. This one put up 2-1.
And they were big. A no-doubter off the batter's eye in dead center field, and then she does it again in the 4th and knew it out of the box.
Febri sends this one to right field, and Whitaker is there trailing over to foul territory. We thought it may have had a chance, got caught up there in the sky a little bit, just a little bit underneath it.
Shea O'Leary looking dominant here in the 6th.
When you think about O'Leary being the ace of this staff, Miranda Elish, who moved over, elected not to come back this season, so the load was on O'Leary. And O'Leary helped to lead this team to 42 wins on the season. She was responsible for 15 of them.
The journey of O'Leary has been so fun to witness. I've been able to watch her career unfold at Texas season over season. Her pitches have become sharper. She's changed the grip and the glove to hide what's being thrown. She's changed the way her windup is. She truly has just surrendered anything and everything to be the best version of her. Through adversity, through change, through injury at times, she has persevered no matter what. It's been fun to watch.
Diagnosed with Graves' disease caused by an overactive thyroid gland. When she stepped foot on campus in Austin on the 40 acres, she nearly fainted. Her first day of practice, she didn't even realize what was happening, but now she has it under control. And Mike White has seen O'Leary, he says, go from a thrower to a pitcher.
It's so fun to witness pitchers reach that extra level of potential, you know? And you know what I'm talking about. When you see a pitcher go to that place, that next level magic.
Busby lines it over, and another efficient inning from Shea O'Leary. Just needed 10 pitches to get out.
The NCAA Softball Super Regionals is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
It's like meat candy, baby.
Meat candy, baby. Just for them cowgirls. Them OSU cowgirls.
Go Dietsky.
Shout out to the Outlaw Corral for serving up to our crew. And there he is, catching the home run ball. Well, what a day he's had at the ballpark here, huh?
Like meat candy.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
1-0 as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Loving it. Loving it.
Welcome to Stillwater, Tiffany Green.
You know, nice introduction in 2021.
Hey, I gotta tell you, those fans though out there tailgating, there was a line up the street to get into the stadium as I pulled in here to check in. Wild.
Oh, check this out. I'm going to get breakfast, late breakfast around 11 or so. They were sitting out.
Wow.
Outside the stadium.
Wow.
Waiting to get in. And I was just like, okay, game time is 3 local? It's 11 a.m. in the morning. Dedication.
Committed.
Great fans here, but the culture that's evolved. And here we go, left field, is it out of the park? Yes! Another fan gets a souvenir. That's Jordan Whitaker, who continues her hot hitting in the postseason, putting up Texas 2-1.
Freshman Whitaker. We asked Coach White about this decision, and he said, let's change it up. She's been red hot this postseason, and she gets her 25th start today. The first time ever in the 3-hole, and this is what she does with that opportunity. Nails it. Clutch for the go-ahead. Texas takes the lead 2-1.
For one of the hottest hitting teams in the country, their first extra base hit of this Supers. And again, I go back to Shea O'Leary in the circle, the work that she's done.
So good.
She came out here with a different confidence, a different eye in the circle. And I think that's really helped to spill over. Naturally, Janae Jefferson does her thing offensively, but you can tell this is a Texas team that believes. They are not out of it. And searching for their first win, as charging in, nearly caught by Factor, pops out of the glove, and into second base is Ellsworth. Longhorns are figuring out Maxwell.
Here come the horns. Hard hit off the bat of Ellsworth. A great effort from Factor. Comes down to the jump, just off the bat, reading where that ball was going to go. I think that catch probably could have been made.
So a runner in scoring position, Shannon Rhodes, who has been sensational in NCAA play, tournament play, throughout her postseason career.
I think it's worth reminding too, this is not the first time this postseason that Texas has had their back against the wall. A must-win situation.
And we think back to last weekend in Austin, facing off against Oregon. Game 6 won by the Ducks, pushing into the late hours of the night to start a decisive Game 7. And this group delivered a 1-0 shutout victory to move on to Supers, but they were tired, weary, and worn, ending in the AM. But as the Mississippi Mass Choir would say, no, 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 I'm not tired yet.
Yeah, don't understate it. Not just late in the evening. I'm talking late into the next morning. I believe the last out recorded to about 1:30 a.m. I couldn't even stay up for the end of that game.
Just had to check my feet in the morning. Rhodes in front of home plate and right throws to first. Runner advancing to third. Ellsworth 60 feet closer to home.
A massive insurance run in scoring position, now 60 feet closer with the two bombers of the Texas order, Iakopo with 15 home runs. A lot of power at the plate here. A lot of swag at the plate. Love how she plays. Iakopo just unapologetic with the way she plays the game. Emotion-filled. Wears a lot of the facial expressions on the sleeve, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I was that style of player. You knew exactly what was going on in my eyes. And she's the same way, just so bought in.
And a player who Mike White says, when she's up, we're up. That energy, that intensity, her teammates feed off of it.
It's infectious. That emotion is infectious in a good way. Sometimes you need those type of emotional rally cries. She gets that team fired up.
Knocks this one up.
Remember in the Big 12 tournament, Iakopo throwing down to second, getting a runner out. She kind of waved bye-bye to the runner, just very animated behind the plate. I personally enjoy watching those types of players. They're invested, they're committed, they're living in that moment.
And as a viewer, you want to see that type of personality. You want to see just what this sport means to them, what this moment means to them.
Well, and keep in mind, Iakopo knowing what this moment is like, having played in a lot of postseason matchups, a lot of experience on this stage.
And this one going opposite field and out of here! Home run! The finger up for Iakopo. Big time insurance right there.
When you play with emotion, you can step up in big time moments. Big time players, ladies and gentlemen, making big time plays in big time games. And it comes off the bat of Iakopo. Did I mention it was opposite field, down the right field line? That's how much power is in the bat of Mary Iakopo, her 16th home run of the year.
7 hits now for this Texas lineup, and again, the reaction. Woo!
Freedom.
Exhaling around the base paths, hugs in the dugout, and smiles on the faces of the Longhorns. How about the juniors here? With Janae Jefferson getting that RBI single to even things up last inning. Iakopo putting on that insurance with that 2-run homer.
I keep thinking about running into Janae Jefferson yesterday and the conversation. So confident in that answer. I said, hey, tomorrow, what are you gonna bring? She goes, fight. We have so much fight left in the tank. You don't gotta worry about me, Aaron. We're gonna fight. And they are. They have shown a late fight here in this game. Never say die is the Longhorns.
They have a saying around the 40 acres, 22 strong for this program, 22 players on the roster. And Mike White has helped this team keep things in perspective. And he said, look, we've had a lot of life lessons over the last, year or two with the pandemic and social injustice, but let's focus on us. One team, one Texas. Kenny Gajewski ready to make a change. Talking with the umpire. We saw Eberle getting loose in the circle earlier, but it's Logan Simonek coming in. Kelly Maxwell, her afternoon is done. She gets the applause. Her team trailing 4-1.
Well, the Longhorns have finally woken up the bats in Stillwater, and it comes first off the bat of freshman Whitaker. And then Iacopo, the junior, going opposite field. It is a 4-1 lead now for Texas. What was a quiet offense yesterday has now exploded in the 6th. Man, a turn of events here.
Yeah, big change, and the change that Longhorn fans wanted to see. Meanwhile, calling on Logan Simonek, a change in the circle for OSU. And she's got a lot of experience with this ball club. Super senior who's been around the block.
A much different look than the lefty Maxwell, who has carried this game through 5 1/3. Simonek will work that rise ball on 2 different plays, hard up in the zone.
And as we were mentioning during the break, Kelly Maxwell had herself a nice outing here today.
Very nice outing. If it weren't for the 2 bombs, she likely would still be in this game, but had commanded the zone very well through 5. When you look across the board, Tiffany, you're going to give up home runs. I mean, it's happening across the nation. National Player of the Year pitchers are giving up home runs. Rachel Garcia getting taken down there in LA. It's the bounce back. It's the response of these pitchers of maybe giving up a home run and then having to come back that next at bat and have a response or pass the ball to your fellow pitcher that can close out this game.
Simonek just wanting to get out of the inning, and she retires. The first batter she faces, fanning Colleen Sullivan.
That is how it's done. Teamwork. Simonek immediately stepping into the circle, making a statement against a good hitter in Sullivan. And then she'll face the speed of Corona in the 9-hole.
Simonek wanting to do everything she can to retire Corona, get out of the inning without giving up any more runs, because Janae Jefferson is on deck. 2 for 3, including that RBI single to tie it up in the 5th. Couple of home runs, a double in this inning for Texas. Helps them add to their lead and draw it out to 4-1. They want to push to a game 3 tomorrow. Corona over to Petty and out of the inning, but Oklahoma State down to their last chance as Texas want to move on to game 3. Catching you up with things here in Stillwater, Texas taking a 4-1 lead after a couple of home runs off the bat of Jordan Whitaker and Mary Iacopo to give them a 4-1 lead heading into the 7th. Aaron Miller, Tiffany Green, let's fist bump our way into potentially this final inning. I'll tell you this, Texas has yet to beat Oklahoma State this season, but in their biggest game of the year, they've got Oklahoma State against the wall.
You know, they made such a good adjustment on that dominant curveball from Maxwell, and it was the aggressiveness early in counts, a clutch performance from both of the juniors with Jefferson and Iacopo. And how about that freshman, Whitaker, her first start in the 3-hole, her 25 starts in this lineup, and man, has she made a statement in this order for Texas today.
4 of the 8 teams have already punched their tickets to Oklahoma City, Florida State, Georgia, Alabama, and Oklahoma. And there's Whitaker in the dugout. Washington replacing her in right field. Well, Oklahoma State, who was rolling yesterday, 4 home runs, went out of the park. And they were able to move on to today with a 6-1 victory and just 1 win away from Oklahoma City. This one lifted into left field. Yes, ma'am, Sydney Pennington. She says, hold up, wait a minute.
Let me put some juice up in it. Pennington, how about it? 13th of the year. And the water goes wild, cutting the lead in half. It has been 5 different athletes in this OSU order that have sent the ball out of here.
Sydney Pennington, the all-time home run leader for OSU, igniting these fans inside Cowgirls Stadium. For as much as we talked about Texas Sleepy Bats coming alive, they've had one of the best offenses all season long, but there's been record-breaking numbers this season for OSU at the plate as it pertains to home runs. And if you're Mike White in the situation, O'Leary has been steady, she's been in control. Do you think she stays in, or when do you make a change potentially?
Well, you do have those 2 insurance runs up on the board. Approaching the bottom half of this order now, but a very good lefty swinger, Petty. We saw Petty go yard yesterday. Some speed at the bottom of the order here for OSU. But right now, I'm gonna ride the confidence of Shea O'Leary in the circle.
Petty with 3 balls and a strike, and a team in OSU who we're told by their head coach, just keep your foot on the pedal. And Petty over to the right side, and what a play by the All-American second baseman, Janae Jefferson.
This is a massive, massive first out for Texas. None other than Janae Jefferson. That is some serious fight on defense. What has been an area for Texas that has needed to step up all year long is making noise right now when it matters.
That's the defense that Texas has brought since regional play. A sore spot, an area of concern all season. So the outfield fans pretty rowdy, some things falling onto the field. They got a quick little warning.
Just a little squirt gun, that was all.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, you talked about just how difficult this place is to play if you're an opponent. Reagan Wright, 1 ball, 1 strike. Searching for her first hit of Supers.
No fear in O'Leary. Just going right at these hitters, continuing to hammer that strike zone.
Fouled away by O'Leary as, by Wright as she stays alive. Swing and a miss. Over to first space, thrown out, and 2 down. So Oklahoma State down to their final out. Too legit to quit, just ever so cool from Chelsea Alexander. Right now, she's standing on deck. Avery Hobson at the plate. This OSU ball club has done a great job against Texas all season long. 5-0 this season against the Longhorns, but fans watching on with great intent and anticipation. With Texas just 1 out away from moving to a Game 3. There's a Game 3 out in Los Angeles later tonight with Virginia Tech and UCLA. And Texas looking to be in that number as well. Perfect time for Texas to get their first win over OSU this season. Longhorns keep their Women's College World Series hopes alive.
When it matters, Texas offense lighting it up in the 6th inning. We will see you in Game 3 tomorrow. Tiff and I, let's keep this party going, baby.
Oh, yeah. They'll have to have their dancing shoes on. Will it be Texas or Oklahoma State? An impressive comeback from Texas with their backs against the wall. 4-2 for Aaron Miller. I'm Tiffany Green. We'll send it over now to NBA Countdown.